introduction. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Center on Technology and Disability Cafe. I'm Jackie Hess, the CTD Director, and I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Corinne Vinipol, the founder and director of the Institute for Disabilities Research and Training, IDRT. Dr. Vinipol and her colleagues, Ron Vinipol and Teddy Desta, do research and development on behalf of individuals with deafness and hearing impairments. Today, Dr. Vinipol is going to demonstrate a suite of software tools that IDRT has developed for families, teachers, therapists, and anyone who wants to create and use American Sign Language materials. We're particularly pleased that IDRT is providing free access to the tools for the next week, during which the Center on Technology and Disability will provide a forum, an asynchronous forum here in the cafe, where you can ask questions, share your experiences with the tools. You can upload sample materials you've created to share with others, which I'm sure that everyone would appreciate. We hope you'll make full use of this great opportunity, because it really is a terrific chance to kick the tires and produce some really good materials while you have access to the experts who are responsible for them, and for free. So if you have colleagues or friends who would like to benefit from the free week of access and the forum, but they couldn't make it to today's webinar, just let them know that they can go into the CTD Cafe and register, and they can still participate for whatever part of the week they have available. Now, for the next hour, most of you are probably familiar with how Adobe chats work. Please feel free to post your questions in the Adobe chat box. If you prefer, you can unmute your phone and, voice your question. Just please remember to mute your phone when you're not speaking. And also, for the next hour, choose either your phone or your computer mic, but not both, because we know what kind of squeaking that results in. So, without further ado, welcome Dr. Vinipol, and over to you.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank you for being one of the first people to give a presentation in your new center. That's very exciting to us, and it's very exciting to have this opportunity to share our software. We were trying to do something a little bit different than people have done before. Some of the websites that are devoted to American Sign Language are teaching ASL itself and ASL grammar. What we're trying to do through this website is to give people tools so that they can make their own instructional materials. And the impetus for this came many years ago when we first built a product called American Sign Language Clip and Create. And this was essentially, I call it sort of like a dummied down Adobe Photoshop, but with ASL graphics, and you could build your own sign language materials. And what happened was that people were so excited to be able to do this instead of having to, draw themselves and copy and paste, that they started giving us different questions, like, could you add this sign? Could you add this capability? So I used to keep this little folder on my desk, and I kept adding in everybody's requests. And then when we would sell out our CD-ROMs, I would open my little folder and see what people wanted, and we would incorporate that into the next rendition. And so we kept upgrading until we got to Clip and Create 5. Around that point, we had a lot of requests for people wanting us to put sign language supports above text. And I really was very reluctant to do that because I saw it as a huge challenge. And I always said, oh, I'd have to be on drugs to try that. And then I said, well, I guess one day I was on drugs because I decided I was going to do that. So we came up with a product called the Sign Generator. And with the Sign Generator, you could type, or you could paste text, or you could scan in text. And then with one click, you could get sign language supports for your English text to help with the reading process. Well, that one very quickly sold out, that CD-ROM, within less than a year, and people wanted upgrades. And at that point, I started to realize that we were essentially sharing a lot of graphic and real estate between the two pieces of software. And we still had not addressed a number of concerns from people. One was we have a lot of itinerant teachers who didn't want to carry around their CD, and of course they could only load a CD on one computer. We had Mac users, and our software was PC-based, so that was an issue. And then the other issue was upgrading, making everybody wait until we had run out of stock and could address their needs. So what we decided to do, another thing was the issue of mobile technologies. How do we make our software mobile? So we decided that we were going to embark on something that we thought was very ambitious, which was to set up a website and move some of these tools, as well as a number of others, onto the website and have them share a common database. And this database allows for translation of words from English to American Sign Language signs. And it also has graphic and video renditions of these. And we can upgrade it every week. So if somebody has a request, they don't have to wait a year to see it happen. They can actually see it done within a week or two. So we set up this website a few years ago called myASL Tech, and we left it open to the public as we were building it, and did lots and lots of testing, asked for lots and lots of input from educators, parents, administrators, students, and kept working away at it. We were very fortunate during this process to get several grants from the Institute for Educational Sciences, the National Science Foundation, and NIDRR that helped us build some of the tools that are on the website. Now, hopefully you all can see our main website there on your computer, and that's our home page. So our home page is idrt.com or www.idrt.com. Now, this black toolbar helps you access things. The store has the CD-ROMs, but myASL Tech is where we have the online services. Now, the way you access, well, I should say, you can find out about each of the tools. So we have actually 8 different areas, and there's more than 8 tools because some of these have tools within tools, but essentially 8 areas. So you see right here the 8 little squares or rectangles. And if you want to just find out more information about it, you can click here and you can see an ASL explanation, the English, and also a screen capture of the product in action. Now, if you become a member of myASL Tech, you can then access any of the tools. For this demonstration, Teddy Desta, my chief software engineer, set you all up with a temporary login. Maybe Teddy can explain that, and also some other things that can be done during the week. Teddy?
Hello. So for this week event, we've set you up with complimentary access to use these tools, and I've sent an email, and hopefully you all have gotten the login information. If you need any assistance, feel free to contact us, and hope you enjoy the tools.
Okay. If they have questions, perhaps they can put them in the forum.
Yes. If you're having any login issues, just type it into the forum, and we'll try to address them as we go along. And also during the week, if you have any issues with logging in. So what I wanted to do was to show you basically each of the tools. As I explained, they share a database. We use the Amazon cloud. We have two servers, one that we build and test on, and one that we roll out our tools to production, to the public. Also, one of the things that you get when you're a member is you get banks. And the banks are places where you can build products and save them on our server. And then you can elect to share them with other people. So that we're hoping in this way to proliferate the amount of ASL accessible materials so that, for example, if a teacher in California builds something and she wants to connect with a teacher in Alabama, that they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can just share with each other. So first of all, I wanted to go to the dictionary. Oh, I better log in. So if you guys haven't logged in yet, and you have a temporary password.
They're seeing your screen.
Oops. For some reason, here we go. You seeing my screen? Okay.
So for this hour, they don't need to log in.
Okay, there we
Watching
go.
your screen.
Okay. Well, they could log in on another screen if you want. So you can watch this and or log in on another screen using the password and email address that Teddy gave you. Okay? So the first thing you do is you get to categories. And you can either, this accesses all of the words in the website. And there are over 30,000 words that this website will translate for you. A lot of the teachers asked that we could, if we would divide these up into categories, and we've done that. We still have a spot available for one more category. Feedback I'm getting at this point is people are interested in careers, so that may be the next category that fills this little hole right here. But let's access one. Let's do holidays, since we're in a holiday season. So what you have here is you have your main graphic. You can access the sign-only graphic. You can get a video of the word, a concept graphic, the English definition, an ASL definition, and you can print. So this is a very efficient way to print any of the graphics that you saw that we had available. So we have the main graphic, the sign graphic, and the concept graphic. Any of those can be printed. You can scroll through here. You can also type in the words you want. So if you go in here, like birthday, you see we have 3 different signs for birthday. Okay, you can access things very simply. Okay, let me go back. All right. We also have an availability for people to sponsor signs. So you can either say, I would like to sponsor this sign in somebody's name or in honor of an occasion, or you can even request a new sign. Let us know what you want us to add, and we'll add it to the database and put you in as a sponsor. So does anybody have any questions about that particular tool? Anything? Okay. All right. The next one we're going to go into is the sign generator. Now with this one, you can put in any text. For example, oops. Okay. And you see how quickly you get sign support for the text. Now, if you decide that you don't, anything that's yellowish, like here, you can choose which one you want. Let me pull this down so you can see. So if it's a yellowish color here, it means there's more than one choice. You also have options, for example, say you want a finger spell. Okay, you can also hide. You take it back. Okay. Once you have it the way that you want it, you can play a video for it. So what happens here is that the video clips concatenate, and then they play together. So it's pulling the videos off of the server. We'll see how good the internet connection is here. We had to go wireless, I think, here, which may slow us down a little bit.
Well, it is slow, but they're very, there we go, and they're very impressive tools. Incredible.
Okay, so here you can do whatever you want. You also can save this in your bank. So you can enter the name and save it in your sign generator bank. You can print it if you want. Okay, so for example, if you had a reading activity, you could put it in this way. You could hide the signs or words that you think the student should be able to read. So it has a lot of flexibility, and that's what we try to do, give you as much flexibility as possible to provide sign supports for reading instruction. Are there any questions about this? Let me also show you how we could load.
Here's a question. What is between the ASL and English instruction button?
Okay. This gives you the text of how to use the tool, and the ASL gives you a video with captions of how to use the tool. Good question. Okay. Let me also say, if you have saved something in your sign generator bank, you can reload it. So this is how I saved it before, and I instantly reloaded it. And again, I can print it. So you can put in as much text as you want. And remember, you can copy and paste. So you could take, paragraphs off of the internet, for example, or from a Word document, load it in here and automatically generate it, and then tweak it up the way that you want it. Okay. Now the concept generator, okay, with this one, you get concept pictures. Oops. So here, this is good for early readers, people with literary challenges, English as a second language learners. With this, of course, there's no signs or videos, but you can also hide. So if it's, for example, the child's learning to read and you say, oh, they should know how to read the word the, you wouldn't have to support it. And then again, you have the possibility of saving it in your bank, clearing, printing. So you could print it like this, and you can load things that you already had in your bank. So just instantaneous, something already had saved. Any questions about this one? I think it's pretty easy to understand.
We're getting comments about what a great tool it is.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you very much. That means a lot to us because we put a lot of effort into it. And like I said, it keeps growing. So the next one I wanted to share with you.
We do have a question.
Uh-huh.
Is the bank a storage space linked with the membership?
Yes. So that's part of what the membership does for you, and that's a great question. Your bank is stored in the Amazon cloud. So that's part of where our expense is in, I have to pay Amazon every month for not only, all of our graphics and videos, but things that you may store, and as well as the services of the staff, keeping everything upgraded and running smoothly. But that's where it is. You also can save to your desktop. So you have both of those options. So you can save into your bank. Now the nice thing with the bank is you can link your banks with other people who are members. And I tell people, think big. This is the internet. So you don't just have to link to someone in your school. You can link to any member anywhere. I mean, we even have a member in Japan. So you can link anywhere in the world. I won't say the universe, but anyone in the world who is a member of this, and that will make you more efficient.
That's terrific. It's like an ASL wiki.
Right,
That's
right. So, for example, if you use the sign generator and you want to do a Cinderella story and save it in your bank, and you linked your bank with someone else and they did the Three Little Pigs, you won't have to do the Three Little Pigs because they already did it and they can borrow your Cinderella.
Terrific.
So it'll save a lot of time. Now, we also been putting some games on here. So one of the ones that we did was Sino, and this was a CD that we also had, but this way we linked Sino with our database. So Sino grows as the database grows. So again, we go into the categories, and you can play this game. It's like sign language bingo with all the words. And remember, when you do all, it may come up slower because we have lots and lots of video and graphic real estate to get through, or any of these categories. So say we want to do animals. So we're loading. Ooh. So then what we have to do, and I'm sorry you can't hear the sound with this, so that looked like a flight. Let's see if that was right. Okay. And that looked like lobster. So you see what happens is that if you're correct, you get a happy face. If you're wrong, twice, it tells you the right answer, and it puts a sad face. So the object is to get, happy faces across in any of the directions. So you can, like I said, you can play with any of the categories or with all. Okay, then the next game we have here is consignation. So with consignation, you're going to match graphics of signs with English words. And you can play at 2 levels of difficulty. So one would be a 5x5 game board. So let's say we were going to do geography, which is much too hard for me. Okay, you can try to match here, or if you want something more simple, you could do a 3x3, and let's say maybe we do technology. So what we're going to try to do is match 2 things together. So they match, so we get happy faces. Okay, so that's basically how it works. And once you have all happy faces, you win, and it tells you how many clicks you had to do. So the next one I'm going to take you to is Signing Science. Now this one, Signing Science for Kids, was a grant through the National Science Foundation. Oh, I see we're spinning up here.
Do you have a question about, while we are on games?
Sure.
About whether any of the games are multiplayer games?
You could play it that way. I mean, probably not at different locations. If they're in the same room,
right,
you could play on teams, but not in different locations. But Teddy and I have talked about that as one of our wish list things.
Okay.
Okay, so we're dealing with internet issues again. See, we're spinning here. Like I said, we're on a wireless here, so that's slowing us down a little bit. Let me go back and try it again. Okay. Click. There we go. Okay. Now with this thing, what you're going to do, so this is actually, I would say, the only curriculum per se here. And everything else is designed to help you with your own curriculum. So people say, well, what is your content? We don't have content. That's what I tell people. We don't have content. We help you make your content accessible, help you add ASL elements to your own content. But this is the one place where we do have some curriculum. So the child can log in here. And then what you have here, and unfortunately we have the sound turned off because of the echo, but there's actually sound here. And I apologize, you can't hear it.
And that's okay. While you're doing that, I'll just read the comment from Kim M. Says, thank you, love it. I wish I would have found this years ago. My daughter is 14 and our family has been trying to learn sign language.
Oh.
So that's, we love, we like those kinds of
Yeah.
comments. I mean, but
What's interesting, we've had also parents of some students with autism who've been using it, and even some autistic adults who were using it while we were building it, because they said some of the parts that gave them some concrete elements of communication seemed to help them. So again, I apologize, we have to turn off the sound because of the here, but all of the videos here have voiceover. And then you have 3 labs here. So the cloud lab, for example, and normally you would hear the little plane going. And then after the animation, now this is the main menu for the cloud lab. You see the child, here I'm the child, is the co-pilot. And then if you want to learn information, for example, about cloud types, well, also anything you see here you can get in ASL. You just have to click the button. And normally there's voiceover. Okay, so cloud types, we go into cloud types. So pause the signing dog here. It's going to tell you about that. And say I want to learn about nimbostratus clouds. Okay, I could get the ASL here. And if I want to see a rescue or play a game, then I click and I have to answer a question. So here, so if I'm correct, then I get to see a rescue. So this one, we have a woman being rescued from a gorilla. Normally you will hear sirens going off and the gorilla's roaring, the woman's screaming, and here comes Pause to the rescue. So this is the motivation for the kids to learn the content. Aww. Poor King Kong. Okay. So anyway, going back. So when we go back to the I should show you here, what happens is when kids go through this, and I was through this before, like with the games, you get check marks here. So then the teacher or parent understands that the child did answer some questions related to the content and was able to do that. Now they can go back and, you know, see the rescue again and play the game again. But in this one, there's 17 games in here, as well as content. So you have all of this here. We have a weather report. So in the weather report, you can see animations, and again, ASL translations of the animations. So the content, there's sound with it as well. And then over here, the cloud facts, get different information about different things related to clouds. Okay, then if you want to go back to the weather station, you can go into either the temperature lab or the wind lab, and you have other information. So Pause introduces this lab, and this particular lab is divided into movement, direction, geography, speed. So you can actually go into one of these and see the information. And this one you can click through and get the information for that. You also, with each of these labs, can get experiments that you can do at home. So these are student easy-to-use experiments, but we always say show it with an adult, and you can print these. So these are PDFs that you can use. So I didn't want to go through all the labs, but you have quite a bit of, you have 3 labs here. You also have a dictionary over here. So this is information related just to these labs. So remember how the other dictionary worked? Okay, so this is very similar. but it has a more limited vocabulary that's just related to the different cloud information, weather information.
Kim is asking how we got into this science section. What
Sure, it's in the games. So let me show you again. Okay, so if you go into games, right now we have these two games, Sino and Concentration, and then that whole Signing Science for Kids series. So we've been sort of wrestling, and I would love to have your feedback on whether we should have, leave the Signing Science there within the game, or if we should pull it out. And we've been thinking about some other science type curriculum, series. But that's how we sort of arrange things on the website right now. Are there any other questions about the games or the Signing Science? Yeah. Is this a PDF? The experiments are PDFs. So the experiments can be printed. Okay, the games are interactive, and the rescues are just animations that the kids can watch. Great. All right, so then the next one that we're going into is the publisher. Now this is the one that sort of took the place of the ASL Clip and Create. And this is the one that lets you make your own materials. So here what you can do is you can go into the dictionary using that button, and you can choose a category or all, and say I want a picture of a fish. Okay, so here's the fish word. I can import it onto my canvas. So I can click anywhere, and it appears, and I can resize and move it. I can also go in here and import from the desktop. Now I'm not on my regular computer, but let's see if I can find this on the computer I borrowed here, because I put an image. You see it? Oh, on the desktop. Here we go. Thanks, Teddy. Go down. Let me see. I stuck a little image here. Here it is, a fish. And it got loaded right here. Okay. And that little tool right there, that arrow, helps you move things. You can add text in here. How about that?
You could really customize this with pictures
Yes.
of family members, of places in the community, of pets.
Whatever you want. Whatever you want to build. So you can take any of our graphics and embed them on here. I think, and Teddy can correct me if I'm wrong, there's some linking opportunity here. We were talking about enabling for video, to embed video in here. You can recolor here. You can add in, shapes and color them. And so here, what happens here is you can import things from your bank. You can save to your bank. You can save to your desktop. Okay, so you can print. So you have different options. So say here I decide I want to save to my bank. It says, do you want to save the bank? Okay. And I'm going to call this fishy. Okay. It says it's been saved to the publisher bank. Then if I want, I can create a new image. So that's going to clear this up. And then if I want to bring back something, I can import something from my bank. So here's fishy. I can bring it back. And there it is. Click on it. Come on. Here we go. And I can bring it back.
Wow, you've really thought this through.
So, like I said, whatever you want to make. So, and remember, because you have a bank, you can link your banks with other people. So if you want to make something fishy, and somebody wants to make something with a dog, you can swap with each other, or somebody might want to make a Halloween poster and someone else wants to make a Christmas poster. You can put them in the banks and link your banks and share with each other.
So real collaborative learning, collaborative development,
Right.
all the kinds of things we want to encourage.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is streamline, what you do, how you do it. Whoops, ooh, we just lost something. Share my screen. Let's try this. Here, share my screen. We lost you for a minute. So while we're trying to get the screen back, so what we're trying to do is make people more efficient by giving them, lots of graphics, lots of videos, a place to save, and a place to share. And that way people will be more efficient, and it'll take a lot less time to make educational materials.
So while Nolan is doing tech support here on your screen, there were a number of questions about membership.
Okay.
About whether all memberships are individual, are there class memberships or school or for family, and I think someone asked about where they could get information about membership, and I'm pretty sure it's on your website.
Yes, it absolutely is. So I was going to save that for a little bit later, okay. But what we did, and remember, this is the internet, so you don't have to, if you want to make a group, so you can have an individual membership, you can have a small group membership or a large group membership. So a small group is 3 to 19 people, and a large group is 20 or more. And like I said, because it's the internet, you can make a group out of people anywhere in the world. So all you need to do is have one person take responsibility for the group as far as, getting the group set up. And then you can get a membership for 1 month, for 6 months, or for 12 months. And then the prices go down according to the size of the group and the length of the membership. So for a large group, it's only $10 for a person per month. Which is, like I say, is about 2 cups of coffee at Starbucks.
However, you also mentioned that we also have students.
Yes. Oh, that's right. We also have student memberships.
Discounted.
Which I believe are like $6. $6
or $7.
Dollars a month. And the way you can find that, I'm going to hop over here for a second. If you go into the store, and you will see, as we see we're spinning here, see where it says myASL Tech Memberships here under Categories? What you will see is you'll get these little things set up here that show your different options. Again, I apologize since we're wireless, we're going very slowly here. Oops, here we go. Okay, so here's your different options. So you can just go into the store and choose which one, and then you can use PayPal to pay, or if you want, you can even do purchase orders with us, or checks, whatever. So anyway, so before I go further, do you have other questions about the membership or the publisher? Okay. Nope. Somebody's typing. Okay. How about a classroom membership? Okay, there's student memberships. So, like I said, your students don't even have to be in the same class. Okay, so you can take children from wherever and create a group. So I think it's like $6 per student per month. So which I think is pretty affordable, even for parents, for $6 for all this educational opportunity and for the parents to be able to help the students out.
Okay. Why don't we move to the next?
Okay. So then I wanted to show you the templates. Now the templates are quick ways that you can make instructional materials. Ooh, somehow I got logged out. Did I get logged out? Okay. Let me log back in. Okay. Maybe when we lost the screen. Okay, so with fingerspelling template, again, I can pick a category. So let's say we do school, and I can automatically make fingerspelling scrambles. So I can choose words and put them in my selection box, either by dragging, or I can do a search here, or I can double click. And you see I automatically get scrambles up here. Then I can give them to the students and they can try to figure out what the words are, or I can give them hints, and I can also re-scramble and then print. So you can print them as many times as you want. So say, for example, you're working on certain vocabulary. You can give the students the same words every day, but just scramble them differently. Or give them new words every day. So that's one of the templates. And then another template is crossword puzzles. So here again, you can choose the category. So let's say environment. And it automatically builds the crossword puzzle. So here, that word wouldn't build a puzzle. So it'll tell you if you can't. Okay, and you see what happens. It builds the puzzle. Now here, you can add in your own clues if you want, or you can use sign language clues. And you can also re-scramble. Now, you can print with the answers, so you know the answers, or you can print for the students without the answers. So you can see here, the answers aren't there. So you make a copy for yourself, a crib sheet. So this is your crib sheet. Okay. And the other one's for the students. And you can make as many copies as you want. And like I said, you can make a different puzzle using the same words. Then we also have, oh, do we have a question?
Yes.
Okay.
Is the Scramble interactive?
In terms of what? Can you explain that to me a little bit better?
Here.
Okay, so the question was, what is the Scramble interactive? Oh, can we print? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so, here, let me just show you. So here, if I say I pick the category animals, we'll wait for us to connect here. What you can do is you can print, and like I said, you could use the same words every day and just give the students a new puzzle. Let me see, it's going really slow. Let me show you with the word search. So this is somewhat similar to crossword puzzle. Okay, so here, okay, so this one, okay, remember you also have the option of putting things in here, like, see, and you see it's building it for you, and then you can either have the words at the bottom or sign clues at the bottom.
See.
Okay, you can re-scramble the same words, you can clear, and you can print. So here, when you print, notice that the answers aren't given for the students. They have to search for the words themselves. Oh, we have a question. No, they're not going to solve the puzzle online. These are printed materials. So this is different than the interactive games, but that's on Teddy's and my radar also to do an interactive version of that. So these are print materials. So you could even send these home for homework if you wanted. And if you wanted your own crib sheet, with this one you have to do a print screen. Okay. The next one that I wanted to show you is, let's see, the Quiz Maker. Now this one is the most complex piece of software that we have developed, and it took over 2 years. We had a request from a teacher in Wisconsin, because I often say to people, okay, what do you need? Tell us what you need and we'll try to build it. And one of the big issues that has surfaced is consistency in testing. How do you provide consistent sign language translation so that everybody who is getting a test is seeing the same? Because you could have an interpreter in one room interpreting a question differently than an interpreter in another room or another part of the state even. So what we did was we set this up. So here, this is your colleague roster, and these are people that you can share quizzes with. So when you build quizzes, you can share it with these people. And this is your student roster. So you can set up your classes. You can add classes. You can show your classes. So here, these are the classes that I set up. Okay, and you can also add students to your classes. So if I want to add students, what I can do is I can choose what class I do, and then I put in the student ID, first name, last name, and their email address, and then just put add student. Now, when you actually are ready to create a quiz, it sets you up with this template here. And to make it efficient for you, we give you 3 options. So one is you can go into your quiz bank. Now this is all the quizzes that you've ever published, and also all the quizzes that your colleagues ever published. So if you link to someone, like I linked here to Teddy, you see it says Teddy did these 2 quizzes, and I have access to Teddy's quizzes. So if I want to republish one of Teddy's quizzes, what happens is that the program will go in and pull it out of Teddy's bank and put a copy in my bank. That way, anything you do to this quiz won't affect what's in Teddy's bank. So you can rework anything there. Now, if you started a quiz but you didn't finish it, you can pull it out of the open quiz bank. Okay, so this is things you didn't publish or assign to students. Now, if you want to start a brand new quiz, you can put in, I'm going to ask Teddy to sort of guide me here. Let's see. Let's say we want to call it Introduction to Computers. Whoops. Poor typing. Okay. And let's say, Chapter 1. Okay, then the instructions to the students. So this would be the general instructions, like answer, whoops, here we go. Answer all of the questions in 15 minutes. Okay, so say that's it. Now, I can either take this over to my sign generator, paste it in here, or retype it, generate it. Now with this one, it's going to pop up in a minute. Now if I want to here hide this, I can do that. Okay, and I can save the graphics and or the video. Okay, save, and then when the students get their copy, they're going to see that. Now if you prefer, you can put in your own sign video here, like a YouTube video, and you can also put in your own graphics. You can put what grade it's for, like say 6th grade. You can put in, let's see, the subject, computers, and how many points. Maybe it's worth 5 points, and the grading scale, pass, fail at 2, maybe, and the due date, so you can decide when it's going to be due, and the time, and how long it's going to be for. So this will be the amount of time it'll be up on the internet for the students. You put continue, and then what happens is it verifies the information. This shows the graphics, the video, if you put in your own graphics, your own video, and then you can either edit that or do next. Then what happens is you can go into your question bank and pull out a question you put in before, or you can make a new question. So with the new questions, you have different template choices. So say we have a true-false question. So let's say www means World Wide Wrestling. Okay? So if I want to add the signs for that, and use my sign generator, I can do that. Okay? And then I can say I want to save the graphics or the video. I think maybe I'll just save the graphics this time. The same options are there to put in your own video. So here, if you want a YouTube video of yourself signing, you can put that in. And then this is the answer, and you assign the points. Okay, then you publish your question. Okay. Then it tells you that you need to add more questions to get up to the 5-point total here. You also can open, edit, or delete the first question. So say I want to create another question. Maybe it's going to be multiple choice. And I could say, debugging is what? and then add the signs. Now here, because this might give away the answer, I might say, I think I want to finger spell that word when the students see it, so they don't know what it means. And since we're not using signed English, maybe what I want to do here is, wait a minute, generate. There we go. Okay, so we're going to finger spell here. Maybe I'll say it means, I'm going to hide that. And this one, maybe I'll say is that one. And I'm going to save it with video. Okay, so then we could put in the different answers. So here I'm not going to go through the whole process, but say this is the correct answer and this is the wrong answer. Okay, and this is worth 3 points. And publish the question. Okay, so now we have the 2 questions. Okay, we have the total points, and it tells us we can publish it. Now, once we've published it, then it tells us it's published, and we can assign it to students. From there, we can choose the class, and then we can choose which students are going to get it, whether it's going to be all the students in the class or individual students. So I'm going to assign it to the students. And then what it does is it creates a link, an individual link for each child. So it tells me the status is it's been assigned. Here's the student's link. I can give them the link. I could email it. I could write it down, whatever. And then the student just goes to that link, and they can take the quiz with the signs, whether graphics or video that we put in, online. When they're completed, it gets sent back to you, and it'll say returned here. You can open up the student's link, you can grade it, and then when you're finished, it'll say graded. The link will change again, and you can give the student the new link with their graded quiz with the grades and comments, whatever you have. You also can do statistical analyses, so by students. So you can say, okay, maybe here, how did this particular Scarlett O'Hara do on all of her quizzes? And so I can look in and I can actually go into Scarlett's quizzes and look at the quizzes, and I can also see how she did. Notice it tells, so these, it looks like she didn't even take them yet. Okay, you can also do a statistical analysis by the quiz. So here you can look in any of the quizzes. Okay, so say we want to look at this one, which is published, and we can see how everybody did on that one quiz. And we can also look in the individual students' quizzes. So that's sort of the short take on a very complicated piece of software. So before I go to the last one, because we only have a few minutes, are there any questions on this one? Okay. All right. Now, the last one here, myASL thesaurus. This one lets you describe signs and then find them in the dictionary. So this is good if a student does not know the English, or if you're working on ASL poetry or storytelling. So you could go in, for example, and say the right hand is that hand shape, the left hand is the same. You can do a search. It takes you to our database and tells you that we have 293 words that have those 2 hand shapes. Then if you want, you can filter more. So I could filter by the location. So I could say, okay, show me ones where the hands are in front of the body, the chest, here. I want them both the same. Add the filter. Do a search. Notice now we're down to 60. Okay, so I can keep adding filters. So I can add filters then for movement and for palm orientation and narrow it down to different signs. And that's basically how that one works. So that gives us just a few more minutes for questions.
And hopefully there'll be lots of questions and discussion over the next week in the forum. I want to remind everyone that this is a great opportunity to play around with these tools, to get in there and use them when you have the developers available to look at what you've done, to kind of hold your hand through this. I also want to remind you that you can let other people know about this opportunity. We're not, trying to bankrupt IDRT with free memberships, but for the week, you can let other people know, and just make sure that, if you're contacting IDRT directly, that you identify yourself as being part of the CTD forum, so that they know that you're entitled to this free week of the tools. Well, I'm very impressed, and it's clear that these have been very well researched. I know you've had very solid research funding and have invested lots and lots of your own time and effort, and it's clear. I mean, they're just really well executed programs, and I've tried, like one of our participants, I've tried for years to master ASL, and I've never seen anything like this out there, so I'm going to join.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to share this with everyone. We very much look forward to the questions. We're there to answer your questions and for any technical support during the week, for sure.
We have a participant who would like to know how to share this with her daughter's special ed teacher.
Well, this week, you can just log on and get, a free 1-week membership. And like I said, you can always go into each of these, the more info, and you can see demos of these in action. And you're always welcome to call, or email us. So the email is sales, SALES, @IDRT.com, or the phone number is 301-942-4326. I apologize, I forget our VP number. I'm going to say it's 830. Oh, Teddy has it here. Do you have the VP? Oh, 301-830-5315. The VP number.
Okay, well, again, thank you, Corinne and Teddy and Ron for sharing your programs and your expertise, and we look forward to the next week online with you. So thank you to the participants. I know there's lots of webinars that you can participate in, and we're glad that you joined us here today, and we hope we'll see you at upcoming CTD events. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you.